Hello, welcome to my first devlog. This week I made a component. I called it a look triggered teleport component, but really it's a behavior component. I made a level. It's just a flat plane with a few lights to help me keep track of where I am. This orb that when I look at it, it keeps track of where I am looking in comparison to it. And when I get close enough, I get in between its boundaries, and then it teleports. And then whenever it teleports a select amount of times, I have it set up for twice, it will enter a chasing mode, which I don't have any behavior written for chasing, so it does nothing. I have that set up with an event begin play. I compute my dot that I will use later with a view angle degrees, degrees to radius, convert it to cosine, and that's my view angle cosine threshold. Move forward to this set timer by event where every 0.1 tick seconds it checks player looking, which moving forward goes down to here. It checks if distance is required, and if the distance is required, we move on, and it checks if you are within the distance. And I do that by using the actor's location that the component is connected to with the location of the player viewpoint, so the camera, the location of it. You subtract the camera's location from the actor's location, spit that to a vector length, and you compare that with a minimum view distance, and if that length is less than the view distance, then we're within distance and we continue. If not, then we're not within distance and the view time remains at 0. Moving forward, we then go to this branch, which checks the location subtracted from the actor location, as well as the rotation of the z-axis from the camera. So the make rotator, that flattens the X and the Y, and then we just use Z. And that moves to the get vector forward, and that's a component of the dot calculation. And we take the actor location minus the player's camera location. We create a rotator, we break that, we use the X and the Y, and we flatten the Z so it's just on the plane that our characters are on. Then we normalize that value. We put that into the dot, calculate our dot, clamp it so that it's between -1 and 1. And then we can set thresholds to where we are looking. I guess we don't really need this angle degree calculation anymore because I'm not using it here anymore. I'm just using these thresholds. But if we are greater than or equal to the minimum dot, or less than and equal to maximum dot, that might need to be an or. I don't know. We'll figure that out later. Then if that is not the case, then we set the view time to 0 and nothing happens. If that is the case, then we're within the distance, we meet all our parameters, we're looking in the correct area, so we move on. And this is when we start looking at the time. So we check the view time with the check interval, we add those together, and that gives us our view time. And then moving forward, if the view time is greater than or equal to the required view duration, just set to 0.1 at the moment. I'm not really using this system, but I set it up anyway. If it is not greater than or equal to, nothing happens. If it is, then we move forward. We get line traced by channel. This, I think I put this in just for debug. I don't think I'm using it at all. Then we move forward to our disappearance delay, which is a time that we can set here. So once we get our time, once we're looking at the orb for a set amount of time, it'll continue, and then this is where we can kind of put a delay in, and then that moves on. I don't think this is quite right, but anyway, we move on, and this is how we start going to teleporting. So on teleporting, we have an on disappearance triggered, which is just a event here that I'm not using yet. I think I'm going to put in effects and like sound effects and visual effects and all that there. And then move forward. We first hit a branch. If the teleport locations is empty, then we do nothing. If teleport locations is not empty, then we move forward and we set the actor location of the owner, which is whatever this component is on, which is on my orb. So we set the actor location of the orb and teleport it to random locations within our set teleport locations. Moving forward, we then count the teleport. So increment up every time it teleports. On teleport, same thing, is a custom event here that I will probably use for audio and visual effects or something. And then we move forward and we check the teleport count. And if the teleport count that is incrementing here is higher than or greater than or equal to the teleport limit before new behavior, then we go to a new behavior. If not, then we just keep teleporting around. And that is what I have set up. It is very buggy. I know it's probably not set up quite correctly and everything's pretty weird. Like this thing just teleports kind of indiscriminately, but it also, whenever you're behind you, because it's clamped the same way in front or behind, and I don't have any system to set up to check in front. But that's what I did. Thank you for watching. I might be working on this some more, or doing some other projects. Thank you for watching my first devlog. I will see you all next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all that stuff. Thanks. Bye.